The message came while I was baking cookies for my daughter's school party. I'm done with this marriage. Taking all the money and leaving with my new girlfriend to Miami. Already took everything from our bank. LOL. I read it twice while the oven timer beeped. My daughter Emma played in the next room, singing a song she learned at school. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just smiled a little smile and typed back 2 words. Have fun. My name is Sarah and I'm 35 years old. My husband just left me in the worst way possible. But he doesn't know that I saw this coming from far away. For 6 whole months, I watched him change into someone different. He bought fancy new shoes. He started wearing strong cologne that made my nose hurt. He stopped eating dinner with Emma and me. Working late, he always said. But his boss posted pictures on social media showing everyone left work at 5. One day, I found a credit card bill hidden under his car seat. He bought expensive jewelry. But I never got any jewelry. That same night, I opened a secret bank account at a different bank. Just for me. Nobody else knew about it. When he said we should put all our money in one place to make things easier, I said yes with a big smile. But I only put a little bit of money there. Just enough so he wouldn't ask questions. The real money, the money I saved from my baking business, went into my secret account. I also started taking pictures of everything strange. Bills for hotels. Receipts for fancy dinners. Text messages to someone named Jim Buddy, with heart emojis. I saved it all in a special folder on my computer. Every single piece of proof I might need later. Another text buzzed on my phone. Don't try to stop me. Me and Jessica are leaving tomorrow morning. I'll get my stuff another day. Jessica. The young girl who just started working at his office last year. I met her at the company party. She kept laughing really loud at all his jokes, even the ones that weren't funny. She touched his shoulder a lot. She wore sparkly dresses and high heels. She didn't know he forgot our anniversary 3 times. I didn't text him back. Instead, I called my lawyer. The one I talked to 2 months ago when I found strange charges on our shared credit card. He just left me, I told her simply. Time to start everything. The papers are ready and waiting, she said back. I'll send them to the court tomorrow morning. Want me to send them to his new place in Miami? No thanks, I said. Let him think he won first. Another message came through. I know you're probably crying right now. But you're getting old anyway. At least you have your little baking business to keep busy. My little baking business. The one that makes more money than his boring office job. The one that lets me work from home and take care of Emma. The one he called your cute hobby at parties. I put my phone down and looked around our house. My house, actually. My grandmother left it to me when she died. He always wanted me to add his name to the house papers. We're married, so we should share everything, he said many times. But something inside me said no. Keep it in your name only. That feeling saved me. I pulled out all my important papers for the lawyer. Old photos of us when we were younger. Back when he didn't wear tight shirts and try to act like a teenager. Back before he started using words like lit and vibe, and sounded silly saying them. My phone kept buzzing with more and more messages. I planned this for months. You never understood me like Jessica does. You'll be okay. Maybe find someone your own age. Already told my mom and dad. They agree we just grew apart. Nobody's fault really. I took a picture of every single message. My lawyer would love seeing these. Proof that he planned everything. Proof that he took our money on purpose. Proof that he's mean and doesn't care. The last message made me actually laugh out loud. By the way, I used our shared credit card to buy our plane tickets and book our hotel. Think of it as my goodbye gift to myself. LOL. Perfect. I called the credit card company right away. Hello, this is Sarah speaking. I need to report that someone used my card without permission and I need to cancel it now. Of course, ma'am. Which charges look wrong? 2 airplane tickets to Miami bought today. Hotel charges at the Sunset Beach Hotel. And I need to remove my husband from the card. He's not allowed to use it anymore. Do you have proof these charges are wrong? Yes. Text messages from my husband saying he used our card to go on vacation with his girlfriend after taking all our bank money. I can send them to you right now. The lady on the phone tried to stay professional, but I could tell she was happy to help me. She canceled all the charges. That meant his tickets wouldn't work. The hotel would cancel their room. He would show up at the airport tomorrow with Jessica and find out nothing worked. My phone buzzed again. Don't worry about the house. I'll let you stay there until you find somewhere smaller to live. I actually laughed so hard I almost spilled my tea. Did he really forget that my grandmother gave me this house? That only my name is on the papers. His brain got so big thinking he was smart that he forgot basic facts. Another buzz. I know your baking business means a lot to you. We can figure out a fair price for me to buy your half. My half of my baking business. My business that I started alone. That I built alone. That I paid for alone. While he complained I worked too much and called it my little hobby to his friends. I poured myself some nice juice I'd been saving for something special. This counted as special. Tomorrow he would learn the truth about who owned what. But tonight, I would enjoy the quiet and think about my new life without him. Morning came with lots of angry messages from him. What did you do to our credit card? The airplane people say our tickets don't work. The hotel canceled our room. Answer me right now. I turned off the sound on my phone and went to my bakery kitchen. Friday was always my busy day. I had 3 birthday cakes to make and cookies for a wedding. Life keeps going even when your husband runs away with a young girl who could be his daughter. Around lunchtime his mom called me. Sarah dear. He told us everything. About how mean you were to him. How you pushed him away. He says you're being really mean now and messing up his travel plans. I put her on speaker while I decorated a cake with pink frosting. Did he tell you about emptying our bank account? And using our credit card to buy tickets for him and his girlfriend? Silence. Then, well, he said you gave him no choice. That you were cold and didn't care about him anymore. Barbara, I have all his text messages. Do you want me to read them to you? The one where he laughed about taking our money. Or maybe the one where he made fun of my age. Another pause. He was pretty mean in that text message. I told him that was wrong. I always liked you, Barbara. But I think we should stop talking now. My lawyer said I shouldn't talk to his family right now. Goodbye. By the afternoon, his sister was telling everyone in the family what happened. Through friends, I heard that he and Jessica were stuck at a cheap hotel near the airport. Their Miami dreams stopped before they even started. He tried to use his own credit cards, but those were already full. Another warning sign I noticed months ago. My lawyer called with news. The emergency court meeting is set for Monday. Since he admitted to taking all the account money and the credit card problem, we're in a really good position to freeze everything else he has. Has he gotten the divorce papers yet? Not yet. But he'll get them at his cheap hotel address. Speaking of that, his girlfriend's social media is giving us great evidence. She's been posting about their trip all day, including some really mean comments about you. I smiled thinking about all my evidence. A whole year of suspicious charges, hotel receipts, text messages that proved he planned this for a long time. He was so focused on his big escape that he never thought I might be watching, waiting, getting ready. My phone buzzed with another message. You think you're so smart. But I made copies of all your baking business money records. Half that business belongs to me. I sent the message to my lawyer. Added it to the big file of his mistakes. Let him learn the hard way about separate property and business ownership. Sometimes the best revenge is just being prepared. The emergency court meeting on Monday was amazing. He showed up wearing his new young person clothes. Jeans too tight for someone his age. A jacket that screamed, I'm having a crisis. Jessica waited outside. Her youth very obvious under the bright courthouse lights. My lawyer showed all our evidence calmly. His happy text about emptying our account. His credit card theft. His history of hidden expenses. Each piece carefully collected over months of quiet watching. Your Honor, his quickly hired lawyer said, My client made some quick decisions. But Mrs. Thompson's actions have been mean and sneaky. Sneaky, my lawyer replied. You mean smart. My client protected her separate property and kept detailed records of her husband's suspicious behavior. That's not sneaky. That's good business. The judge looked at my documents. The house deed showing only my name. The baking business papers in my name only. The careful separation of business and personal money that he always complained about. Mr. Thompson, the judge said to him directly, you admitted in a text message that you deliberately emptied a joint account. And you used shared credit cards to pay for a trip with your girlfriend. Do you deny this? He shifted uncomfortably in his chair. I was just trying to make a clean break. By stealing? The judge raised her eyebrows. And now you're claiming rights to property that documents clearly show is separate from marriage assets. The business grew while they were married, his lawyer tried. My client deserves some of it. The business started before the marriage, my lawyer interrupted. And Mrs. Thompson kept strict separation of business and personal money the whole time. We have documentation of every single penny invested and earned. I watched his face as the truth started hitting him. He thought this would be easy. TR accounts. Run away with his girlfriend. Maybe claim half my business in the divorce. He never bothered to understand why I insisted on keeping things separate. He made fun of my careful record-keeping. Called it obsessive. The court finds enough evidence of financial wrongdoing, the judge announced. All shared assets are frozen until the final divorce. Mr. Thompson must return any money removed from joint accounts within 24 hours. But that money is gone, he protested. We spent it on. Then I suggest you find a way to replace it, the judge cut him off. And Mr. Thompson, the court really doesn't like when people use shared credit cards to fund adventures with girlfriends. Outside the courthouse, I heard Jessica asking him about their Miami plans. His response was lost as my heels clicked confidently across the floor. Walking back to the business he never understood or respected. The next few weeks brought desperate moves from him. He tried claiming the bakery was his idea. He remembered investing money early on. He even suggested he'd been my business partner all along. Claims quickly proven wrong by my perfect records. He's getting desperate, my lawyer observed. His girlfriend's social media shows they're staying at her tiny apartment now. Living on a receptionist's salary isn't the glamorous escape he imagined. His family started reaching out. Their tone much different from their first accusations. We had no idea, his sister Amanda admitted. He told us you were cold and controlling, that he needed to escape. But then we saw his text, the way he bragged about taking your money. That's not the brother I thought I knew. His mother called again, this time crying. The things he said about your age. About replacing you with someone younger. I raised him better than that. I thought I did. I let their calls go to voicemail. Their support might have meant something weeks ago. Now it felt fake. The bakery did amazing. Actually boosted by local gossip about my situation. Women started coming specifically to support me. Often buying way more than they planned. My ex tried something similar, one customer confided while buying 3 dozen cupcakes. Thought he'd take everything in the divorce. Men like that never expect us to be smarter than them. My phone still buzzed sometimes with his texts. His tone swinging between anger and manipulation. You've ruined everything. I never meant to hurt you. You'll regret being so mean. Can't we work something out? That business would be nothing without my support. I forwarded each message to my lawyer without responding. Let him dig his hole deeper. Through friends I heard Jessica was having second thoughts. Sharing her tiny apartment with a middle-aged man who couldn't afford his own place wasn't romantic. The age gap that seemed exciting during secret hotel meetings felt different in harsh reality. She posted about toxic relationships and learning from mistakes yesterday, my lawyer mentioned during an update call, and removed her relationship status this morning. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. But then I remembered his haha after telling me he emptied our account. The casual cruelty about my age. The way he assumed I'd be helpless without him. Instead of pity, I felt something else. Pride. Pride in my planning. In my quiet strength. In my ability to protect myself while he underestimated me. The final divorce hearing painted a very different picture from his imagined victory. Gone was his cocky attitude, replaced by barely hidden panic. Jessica was noticeably absent. She'd moved on to a coworker her own age according to office gossip. He showed up in his old clothes. The designer wardrobe apparently returned to help repay the joint account he'd emptied. His lawyer looked exhausted, probably from trying to find loopholes in my documented separation of assets. Your Honor, his lawyer attempted one last time. Despite the separate property documentation, my client contributed to the growth of his wife's business through moral support and— Moral support, my lawyer interrupted. Like these text messages calling Mrs. Thompson's business a little hobby? Or these social media posts mocking her work? The judge had clearly seen enough. The final settlement reflected my careful planning. Kept my house, my business, my separate assets. He got his personal belongings and his car, which was worth less than he owed on it. You've destroyed me, he hissed as we left the courthouse. I'll have to move back in with my parents. No, I corrected him calmly. You destroyed yourself. I just made sure you couldn't destroy me too. His mother was waiting outside, ready to drive him to her house. His new home at 42 years old. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The man who mocked my age was now living in his childhood bedroom, while I continued running my successful business. You planned this all along, he accused. You knew this would happen. No, I just paid attention. And unlike you, I understood the value of keeping good records. His mother stepped between us. That's enough. You've embarrassed yourself enough already. As they walked away, I heard her start scolding him. Honestly, what were you thinking? A 20-year-old, emptying bank accounts, sending those horrible texts. I watched them disappear into the parking lot, feeling nothing but relief. He thought he was writing the ending to our story with that cruel text. Instead, he'd merely activated my carefully laid plans. My phone buzzed, not with texts from him this time, but with notifications of new orders from my bakery's website. Life was moving forward, just not in the direction he'd imagined. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, my bakery had expanded to a second location. The irony wasn't lost on me. While he struggled to rebuild his life, the little hobby he'd dismissed was thriving. I hired 5 new employees, launched an online ordering system that was gaining popularity across the state. News of his situation trickled back through mutual friends. He'd tried dating apps, but women his age weren't interested in a middle-aged man living with his parents. Younger women, having heard about his history through office gossip, avoided him. Jessica had apparently warned her friends about him, sharing screenshots of his desperate attempts to win her back after she'd left. His career suffered too. The company's human resources department investigated his relationship with a subordinate, resulting in a formal warning in his file. The promotion he'd been expecting went to someone else. Someone who didn't have a history of inappropriate relationships with reception staff. He tried to claim they were being unfair. Amanda told me during an unexpected visit to the bakery. Said they were punishing him for his personal life. Human resources just added that complaint to his file too. I was surprised to see his sister in my store, but her presence showed how thoroughly he'd pushed away his own family. I know we didn't support you at first, she admitted, touching a decorative cake display. He played the victim so convincingly, but watching how he handled everything afterward, how he acted, I'm ashamed we ever believed him. My lawyer kept me updated on his continued attempts to challenge the divorce settlement. Each petition denied. His claim of unfair distribution dismissed based on evidence of his own actions. He actually tried arguing that his text about emptying the account was just a joke, she told me, laughing. The judge asked if haha made theft less illegal. The bakery's success brought unexpected validation. Local business magazines wanted to feature my story. Not as a scorned wife, but as a savvy businesswoman who protected her interests. Young entrepreneurs asked for advice about keeping business and personal finances separate. The best protection is preparation, I told one young woman who reminded me of Jessica. And always trust your instincts. His mother called occasionally, usually after he'd done something particularly self-destructive. He'd tried online gambling, hoping for quick money to fix his financial problems. He'd gotten involved with a pyramid scheme that promised fast returns. Each attempt to recover his former lifestyle just dug him deeper into trouble. I don't know where we went wrong with him, she sighed during one call. His father and I offered to help him get back on his feet if he'd just take responsibility for his actions. But he's still blaming everyone else. Jessica. His company. The judge. I listened politely but maintained my distance. Their family drama wasn't my problem anymore. My life had moved forward, filled with plans for a third bakery location and a possible expansion into wedding cakes and catering. The only reminder of his impact on my life was a framed screenshot hanging in my office. His final text before I blocked his number. Have fun with your little hobby. At least it'll keep you busy in your old age. Below it sat my latest business award. Proof that sometimes the best revenge is simply succeeding on your own terms. 1 year after the divorce, I hosted a grand opening for my third bakery location. The event attracted local media. The story they wanted to tell wasn't about my failed marriage. It was about a successful businesswoman expanding her brand. His betrayal had become a mere footnote in my success story. During the event, Jessica unexpectedly walked in. She looked younger than ever. Or maybe I just felt that much stronger. She shifted uncomfortably, clutching her purse like a shield. I owe you an apology, she said quietly. I believed everything he told me, about how you were cold and controlling, how you didn't support his dreams. Then I watched him try the same manipulation on me when things got tough. I continued arranging a display of cupcakes. Those weren't his dreams, Jessica. They were escapes. There's a difference. I know that now, she paused, then added. He tried to move in when you froze the accounts. Thought my studio apartment would be temporary. After 2 weeks of him complaining about the size of my kitchen and suggesting I take out a loan for a bigger place, I understood what you meant about the difference between dreams and escapes. I actually laughed at that. Let me guess. He had big plans but no way to fund them. Exactly. Everything was going to work out once his investments paid off. Once he got that promotion. Once his online business definitely took off. She shook her head. I'm dating someone my own age now. We have student loans and a small apartment. But at least we're building something real. After she left, my assistant manager whispered, Was that the girlfriend? No, I replied. That was just another woman who learned the same lesson I did. I gestured to a young couple examining our specialty cakes. Let's talk about your idea for expanding our catering services. The bakery had become more than just a business. It was a symbol of independence, of resilience, of the power of preparation. Young entrepreneurs often sought my advice. I always emphasized the importance of protecting their assets. His mother called one last time. Not to discuss him but to thank me. You taught our family an important lesson, she said. About enabling bad behavior. About making excuses for cruelty. He's still living at home. Still blaming everyone else for his problems. But we're not defending him anymore. That's your legacy to our family. Showing us the difference between supporting someone and enabling them. I thought about that legacy as I reviewed plans for a fourth location. He had intended to diminish me. To trade me in for a younger model and take half of everything I'd built. Instead, he'd inadvertently pushed me to become even stronger. More successful. My phone buzzed with a text from my lawyer. He filed another petition to revisit the settlement. Judge dismissed it immediately and ordered him to pay court costs. Thought you'd enjoy that. I smiled, thinking of him in his childhood bedroom, still trying to rewrite an ending that had been determined the moment he underestimated me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting better. 2 years after his cruel text message, I received an invitation to speak at a women's business conference. The topic wasn't divorce or betrayal. It was about building and protecting a successful business. My story had evolved from cautionary tale to inspiration. During the question and answer session, a woman asked about keeping business and personal finances separate. My husband says I'm being paranoid. That marriage means sharing everything. My ex-husband said the same thing, I replied. Right up until he tried to claim half my business in our divorce. Trust your instincts. Protection isn't paranoia. The bakery chain had grown to 5 locations, each more successful than the last. The little hobby, he'd mocked now employed 40 people, had been featured in several national magazines. Through mutual friends, I heard he'd finally moved out of his parents' house into a small apartment above a garage. He'd had to take a lower-paying job after his former company downsized, eliminating his position during restructuring. His dating profile still listed him as young at heart, though his profile photo was clearly outdated. Jessica, ironically, had become a regular customer at my original bakery location. She'd earned her business degree, started her own social media consulting company. "You inspired me," she told me once, showing how a woman can build something lasting instead of falling for empty promises. I kept his cruel text message framed in my office, not as a reminder of pain, but as proof of how far I'd come. Below it hung a sign that read, "Success is the best revenge." At the 5-year anniversary celebration of my original bakery, I stood addressing my employees and loyal customers. The space had been transformed from a single little hobby into the flagship store of a thriving business empire. His mother attended, though I hadn't sent her an invitation. She waited until the crowd thinned to approach me. "I saw him yesterday," she said, smoothing her dress, one she'd bought from a boutique I recommended. He was talking about his glory days, about the life he could have had. He still doesn't understand that he didn't lose everything in the divorce. He threw it away. I thought about that text message, his casual cruelty, his assumption that I would crumble without him, how he'd expected me to beg, to break, to prove him right about my desperation. Instead, I'd built something stronger than before. Each new bakery location was a testament to what women could achieve when they stopped dimming their light for insecure men. The young saleswoman I'd hired last month, coincidentally also named Jessica, came over with a question about the new ordering system I'd implemented. As I explained the process, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the store window. I saw what he had failed to see 5 years ago. Not a woman getting older, but one getting wiser, stronger, more successful. His cruel text message had been meant as an ending. Instead, it had been a beginning. Not just for me, but for every woman who heard my story and realized she deserved better than someone else's midlife crisis. My daughter Emma, now 10 years old, helped arrange cookies on a display tray. She knew the story in age-appropriate terms. Daddy made bad choices and had to move away. But Mommy worked really hard and built something amazing. She was my reminder of why preparation mattered. Why protecting yourself wasn't selfish. It was survival. The bakery's success had funded her college savings account, her summer camps, her music lessons, things that would have been impossible if I'd let him take everything. At night, after closing the flagship store, I often walked through the space, remembering when it was just me, a small kitchen and a dream. Now it employed dozens of people, fed thousands of families, provided opportunities for young entrepreneurs to learn the business. All because I'd paid attention to warning signs, kept careful records, protected what was mine. His final attempt to contact me came through his sister. He wanted me to tell you he's sorry, that he realizes now what he threw away. He's asking if there's any chance. No, I interrupted gently but firmly. That chapter is closed. I've moved on to a much better story. Amanda nodded, unsurprised. I told him you'd say that. Honestly, I think he just misses the stability you provided. Not you as a person. She was probably right. He missed the nice house, the comfortable life, the successful partner who made him look good. He didn't miss me. He missed what I represented. The bakery continued to grow. I hired a business manager to help with expansion, brought on a marketing team to build our brand, developed relationships with suppliers and distributors. Everything he'd called a cute hobby had become a legitimate empire. The media loved the story. Woman builds successful business while navigating betrayal and divorce. They framed it as inspiration, proof that setbacks could become comebacks. I gave interviews carefully, always focusing on the business lessons rather than the personal drama. Young women reached out constantly, sharing their own stories of financial abuse, of partners who dismissed their dreams, of relationships where they felt small. I always told them the same thing. Document everything. Protect your assets. Trust your instincts. And never let anyone make you feel less than you are. His name rarely came up anymore. When it did, it was always in past tense. My ex-husband. The one who left. He'd become a footnote. Cautionary tale. A reminder of what happens when ego overtakes wisdom. Meanwhile, my story was still being written. Each new location. Each new employee. Each satisfied customer. Each young woman I mentored. All chapters in a narrative of resilience and success. The boutique where I bought my business clothes started carrying a small line of my branded merchandise. Prints, tote bags, coffee mugs, all featuring my bakery's logo and empowering messages. Bake your own success. Rise like good dough. Sweeter after the bitter. They sold surprisingly well, especially to women going through divorces, through career transitions, through life changes. My story resonated because it was real. I hadn't become a billionaire overnight, hadn't won the lottery, hadn't married someone richer. I'd simply paid attention, worked hard, and refused to be diminished. That relatability made the message powerful. At Emma's school, I occasionally spoke to classes about entrepreneurship, about building businesses, about resilience. The kids always asked the best questions. What do you do when someone doesn't believe in your dreams? You believe in them harder. And you prove them wrong through success, not arguments. What if you're scared? Being scared is normal. Being brave means doing it anyway. What's the best revenge? I always paused before answering that one. The best revenge is living so well that they become irrelevant to your story. The children understood that concept better than most adults. His legacy, ironically, was teaching me my own strength. His betrayal had forced me to stand on my own, to trust my instincts, to fight for what I'd built. Without his cruel text message, I might have stayed comfortable, complacent, never fully realizing my potential. In a twisted way, his leaving was the best thing that ever happened to me, though I'd never thank him for it. The bakery's 10th anniversary approached. I was planning something special. Gala. Charity auction. Proceeds going to support women entrepreneurs starting their own businesses. Full circle from where I'd started. Scared but determined. Hurt but hopeful. Betrayed but not broken. The invitations went out to hundreds of people. Business partners. Employees. Friends. Family. Customers who'd become friends. Media contacts. Local politicians. Everyone who'd been part of the journey. His name wasn't on the list. Not out of spite, but out of irrelevance. He simply wasn't part of this chapter. Emma helped me choose the menu, the decorations, the music. At 10 years old, she understood that this celebration wasn't just about the business. It was about resilience. About mothers showing daughters that women can build empires. That betrayal doesn't define you. That the best revenge is living authentically and successfully. The night of the gala, I stood in my flagship store transformed for the party. Lights twinkling. Tables elegantly set. A slideshow playing on screens showing the journey from tiny kitchen to multi-location empire. My lawyer attended. My accountant. My business manager. My employees. All the people who'd helped build something real. No one asked about my ex-husband. His chapter was closed. This was about the future. About growth. About possibility. As I gave my speech, I caught Emma's eye. She smiled proudly. That smile was worth more than any revenge. More than any settlement. More than any vindication. It was proof that building something real, protecting what matters, and refusing to be diminished creates a legacy that transcends betrayal. The cruel text message that was meant to destroy me had instead revealed my strength. And that, ultimately, was the greatest victory of all. This is Flex Revenge Unfold, reminding you that sometimes the best response to cruelty is quiet preparation, strategic thinking, and building a life so successful that the person who tried to break you becomes completely irrelevant to your story.